I don't care what you look like or what you think. I don't care what you do or where you're from. All I care about is that gift hidden inside you. And all I want to do is help it come alive. Because where we're going, we're going to need a lot of heroes. For the record, 10,000 Heroes is brought to you by Momentum Lab. The point of Momentum Lab is to turn idealists into impactors by aligning your dreams and aspirations with success in every area of your life today. Momentum Lab is like a playground for your highest self. We take your dreams seriously and help you remove any blocks to realizing them. We do this through courses, virtual events, in-person events, and our signature year-long accelerator. To join our world, engage in dialogue, meet up in person, and just blow your mind, sign up at momentumlab.com. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 10,000 Heroes. This is a debrief episode with me and Nate, but we're not debriefing an episode. We're just talking about Nate's penchant for stepping in doggy doo-doo and how he wants to deal with it. That's his description. Another way to look at it is him interviewing me about the challenges of creating space for multiple people's feelings at the same time, even if they're conflicting on the surface.
All right, Ankh, I want to switch gears. I want to try something. Well, maybe kind of in the vein of what we did in a recent episode that just released, where we all got the chance to scrutinize and laugh at my Christmas vacation.
Mm-hmm.
But so maybe this is a segment we call Nate puts his foot in it or something like that, or
I don't even know what that means, but like stepping in dog poop?
Yeah. I think that's what that. Yeah,
got it. Yeah, okay.
I think that's what that refers to. And we have plenty of occasion for that. So let me see if I can set this one up. This happened recently, and I fucked up. I fucked up. It was an accident, but I misspoke, and I revealed something that you hoped I wouldn't.
Yeah, we can't do this.
No.
Even saying that, it's just like people are gonna know what that means.
Okay, well let's just cut that out. We'll cut that out.
Yeah, okay.
Let me try it again.
I don't know. It's funny. Yeah, I keep trying.
Let's just see if we can. All we need to do is get to the space part and
Totally.
then unpack the space thing.
Totally.
Right? All right. So most recently I put my foot in it, and it was something in our relationship. It was something in our relationship, and it was an accident, but it upset you.
Mm-hmm.
I made a mistake, and it upset you. And in the moment when you confronted me about it, I felt so bad. I had such an immediate stomach in my throat. I just felt so shitty that I had let you down in this way. And it became hilarious because you are such an empathic, kind of compassionate person that the conversation switched. And you started like kind of tending to my feelings, which then just became hilarious. And we both started laughing. And I said, "Dude, shut up. Don't do that. Be mad at me. I don't want to talk. I'm not trying to pull the focus of this conversation here about my feelings." And then a couple of days later, we spoke again. I said, "Oh, that was so funny." And you said something to me that I wanted to talk about on the show because I think it is really illustrative, and I think it connects to so much we've talked about already in some of these debriefs about nonviolent communication. And I thought you really demonstrated it in a very subtle way. And what you said to me was, yeah, but for me, there's space. Yeah, there's space. There's space for your feelings and my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's not that profound as our listener, but for me, I hadn't heard it this way before. And it just made so much sense. And I was hoping maybe you could talk a little bit.
Yeah. So 2 questions. what is that space? What is it? Is it physical space? Is it space like that you experience? Is it time? It occurs to me that it might be time. There's a spaciousness to maybe the time pressure. And how does someone develop it? How do you find it? Where do you go get it from? Because
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
seems like we could all benefit from having that experience.
All right. So what I'm talking about is that I can have an emotional experience, a reaction. I was upset. I was pissed off. I was also surprised. And I can also have space. There can be space for you to have an experience and for me to then feel a different way than I normally feel. I can feel two things at once. I can feel two things at once. So I can feel upset with you and I can also feel compassion because I know how you feel. And so how do you get that? What is it? I can tell you, I can do a little proof by contradiction here. I can tell you what it's not. And so if I stub my toe really hard against something in my house, like the edge of a table or chair or something, I do not have the space at that moment to be attentive or empathetic or compassionate or even really listen to anything anyone has to say. Because my toe like really hurts. You know what I'm talking about? You have this moment where you're just like, oh, damn it, my toe.
Oh yeah. No, I thought I broke my toe just before we went to Joshua Tree a
Oh
couple
yeah.
months ago. The night I was
Yeah,
leaving,
totally.
I was doing this. It was like a cartoon. I was doing these banded resistant band workouts, and it slipped, and the bar, a steel bar, just slammed right in my toe.
Oh God.
And no, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I,
So
I couldn't.
there's no
I
there's
couldn't.
no space in that
There's
moment.
nothing. There
Right.
was nothing.
All right. And so I
Yeah.
want to draw that. I think it's like it's not even a metaphor. I think it's very literally what's going on. When someone is in so much pain, then you're only thinking about your own experience, right? And so what allows me to have that space is that I wasn't like that pissed off. Like I think if it was a really bad thing you did, and I was really going to suffer the consequences for a long time, and I was so concerned about my own experience and like what this is going to mean for me in the future and how upset I am, then I'm not going to have the space, right? But because it wasn't, I mean, yeah, it was like a stupid thing, but it wasn't going to have these like long-term consequences that I'm going to have to deal with it's just like not that big a deal. So what am
This
I
is a
saying?
really unsatisfying answer for me. This is deep. This is profoundly because I mean, what I hear
But
you
I'm
saying
not, I'm
was
not enlightened,
what
it's not like,
what I want is something that we can take away and that our listener can go try, right? I mean, that's the spirit of
okay,
this
yeah,
show. So it's really unsatisfying for you to say, well, I was able to do it because it wasn't that bad. If you had stubbed my toe, it would have been much worse. But but I disagree, honestly. I mean, I think there is some spectrum there that of reaction where actually the work you've done and the skill you've cultivated might not be totally visible to you, but it that did leave that space there. It created that gap
hmm
between what you felt and then your reaction and your capacity to be present with another person.
hmm yeah, okay. So let's admit that. Let's put what I set aside,
Yeah.
which I think is also there's an element of truth to
Yeah.
that as well, right?
Sure.
But on the other side, what you're saying, then I think it's more again, and maybe you're not going to be satisfied with this either. But if there's a what I would perceive as a negative intent, it would be much harder for me to create space for you because by ascribing a negative intent to you, I'm essentially like dehumanizing you. I mean, like I'm a guy. I've got good intentions. That motherfucker has bad intentions. He's not really a person like me in this moment. And then I'm not gonna want to. I'm not gonna want to indulge in like trying to understand your experience. But because it was so clear that you made a mistake, there's
No,
like
it's
there's
still not
no
it.
No.
No, I still, this is so disappointing.
Strike
And
two.
I'm gonna insist that we air this no matter what. This is like unedited. Martin cut nothing. Well, actually, never mind. You cut what you need to cut, but this must air because I want to get to the bottom of this because I think I just disagree with you because I know you, and I know this to actually be kind of a central ethos of your life. You're a man committed to conciliation, right? And so that is winning over from some disrepair, some conflict, right? I mean, that's the point, right? I mean, who cares if it's not that big of a deal or if the person was a pretty good guy and just kind of messed up? I mean, I think, yeah, sure, in this example, all those things are true. But I still really believe that this is something that you show and have shown in a variety of situations where these things were less clear, both intent and degree of the injury.
Mm-hmm.
So try again.
Okay. So here's my third at is it my third at bat? No, it's my first at bat, but it's the third pitch.
Still a bat. Yeah, it's a third pitch. That's right.
Yeah. I did play baseball once when I was 10. So I think it has to do with our relationship. We have this really deep
Our
relationship. Yeah.
Me and you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been in relationship for years. We have like an intense working relationship. We're also really good friends. We've had really powerful experiences together and we want to continue. We have like plans to have all these other actually on the calendar times we're going to see each other and hang out and have powerful experiences. And even beyond that, we project doing that more in the future. So the relative like importance of one event where you'd say a trust is broken or something like that versus like the whole web of importance of this relationship. It's just so easy to see how one is way more important than the other.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That satisfies me. No, I mean that's good. That is good. It's not what I would have assumed would have been the answer, but I think I can really see that actually. Maybe I could start to infer some things about you based on that because I do know that community and relationships are extremely important to you. Yeah. So this investment in relationships is kind of lowers our time preference a little bit. We're able to kind of prioritize the future of these relationships. We've invested in them. There's significance. And maybe that's the spaciousness.
Yeah, and as a 40-year-old dude, you know that every relationship is going to have problems. Every relationship is going to have like issues and hiccups and betrayals, and there's no such thing as perfection. Everybody screws up, and having like a powerful relationship with a friend, a guy friend in this case, it's not you don't get those opportunities every day. Even me, I meet people every day. I'm like super social. I have lots of friends, but to have a friendship of this level of integrity and quality, it's a gem.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, that's touching. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I want to generalize something here because I think there's something to be said for this that all of the circumstantial kind of gifts that were surrounding this moment, our relationship, all the so I hear you in all these responses kind of saying, well, it just kind of just happened because it wasn't that bad. Your intent wasn't that our relationship has a significance. But I really believe that what you demonstrated in that moment is fundamental. It's primary to having good relationships and to create and healing, or whatever we mean when we say healing, community and across communities. And not all of these advantages are going to be present. Sometimes it is going to be really bad.
Yeah, totally.
Sometimes the investment in the relationship's not going to be there. And I would still hold that this is something worth exploring and investing in. The spaciousness. And again, I hear you saying sometimes it's going to be so bad. You're going to be so identified with that pain or that injury, that insult, that there's not going to be that spaciousness there. But I think it's
Yeah.
worth investigating.
No, no, I think so too. And it's really like there's an enlightened perspective there. The enlightenment bit is to like really understand and imagine someone else's experience while you're having your own experience. It's kind of like in logic, it's like being able to hold two opposing thoughts or contradictory thoughts at the same time, just to like really hold that paradox. And in this field of relating, it's like have my experience and this other guy's experience at the same time. So I had a friend come over last night, and he was telling me a member of his family, he found out that this person had been serially cheating on this other person, member of their family, for 9 years. And this guy was like super close to everybody, da 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 da. And now he's like, that guy was basically lying to everybody in our family for 9 years. And that's I just bring that up because that's not what I'm that's serious. That's like way more. It's like there's like levels of gravity. There's times, I'm not saying that every relationship is worth saving or that it's always worth it. Sometimes you're just like, dude, I'm out, But I would ask the audience, and I just want more interaction. Can you remember a time where you wrote off a friendship or a relationship because of something that you now look back and you're like, that wasn't that big a deal? And I think as you get older, I mean, this loneliness is an epidemic, in our country.
It's an epidemic. I mean, it
Yeah.
is.
And as you get older, that just
Yeah.
becomes the cost of that just gets higher. And so that is the cost of a lack of empathy. That's the cost of not being able to imagine, oh, that's what they were doing. That's what they were trying to do when they insulted me in front of all my friends. Or that's what they were
Right.
trying to do when they like wrecked my car or whatever. There's
Yeah. Or in the context in the vocabulary of this conversation, the lack of space. It's
yeah,
lack of that spaciousness, however you arrive at that.
yeah.
But I don't know if you've heard this. I've heard this, that like loneliness is the number one killer of men. So it affects men disproportionately.
No,
That
no, I didn't hear that.
and that men really suffer when they don't have relationships. They're whatever that is, but that it's widespread, it's virulent, and it's a killer. It's a killer.
Dude, yeah. I can't even
And
imagine. That's like I'm
yeah,
still best friends with like 8 or 10 people from my freshman dorm.
well, you see all this shit around the new year, right? It's like we're in February now already, but around the new year, you see all these things like social media posts and so the new year, new me. Um, if you don't hear back from me, it's because you're not, cut you off. You're not in my circle. Or
Serious?
I'm leveling up and I'm letting go of all. Yeah, yeah. It's a very common. This is a meme, right? This is
Really?
very common. This is
I thought
the
you were gonna
attitude.
say the
Yeah.
opposite, like New Year, I'm gonna invest more in my relationships.
Nobody, no, no. You just woke up and welcome to 2023. That's not how they're rolling. That's not where this culture is headed at all. Yeah, no, I mean, and it's actually stated as a kind of a celebration for mental health, and I'm gonna kind of pursue my own thing. I'm leaving behind the toxic and so, like you said, sometimes those relationships are toxic; they need to be left behind. Sometimes you're just walking away from relationships because you don't want to do the work.
Hmm.
I would say.
Oh yeah, yeah. You see that all the time. Yeah, because it's hard, and it's this particular thing we're hitting on, this space. It's a deep inner work, and I don't pretend to understand it. Like I obviously I've lived some of it, but I don't have like a full theoretical framework. But I think part of it must have to do with a sense of safety or security or self-acceptance that if I don't, it's okay that I don't have to advocate for my own view of things, for my own perception. I can leave that alone. I can step away from advocating for myself, and I'm not going to fall apart. I can imagine what it's like to be in Nate's shoes, and it's not, it doesn't mean I'm lost. I think that there's like a rarity to that. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. What I love is that you have no idea. This is a
No.
surprise to me. I assume there would be like this theoretic. You had this teaching. You read something that Gandhi said. You did Vipassana. You came, but no, this is actually even better. This is like when they like Robert De Niro sits down and talk on there. He can't even talk about it. He doesn't know what he does. He just does it. But it's something worth examining. Like you said, like what that spaciousness or that ability to see the other side. And yeah, I agree. I think there's maybe an overlooked opportunity there when you said that to me. I mean, that was educational to me in a way that reading it out of a book or actually experiencing it, and I'm experiencing the spaciousness and knowing that that was possible,
Mm.
taught me something different than if you had the whole theoretical thing all mapped out and you delivered that to me point by point right here. Because and I was hoping we could do that for the listener because they didn't get to be in the moment to moment kind of relational school that we were in.
Mm.
But I did a bunch of talking. You asked a question to the audience, and I want us to repeat it because I think it would be great to leave them with that instead of giving them the map. But maybe they could go do some
Yeah,
excavation
I want to hear a
of
story.
their
I
own.
want to hear a story of a time where you had a relationship you were in and you dropped it over something that now you're like, oh, that I like I shouldn't have done that. Or like that was such a small thing. But at the time it seemed like a big thing and there wasn't space at that time.
Hmm.
You didn't have that gift, but
Hmm.
maybe now you do.
Yeah, cool. All right. If you're inclined, please share those stories with us in all the ways that are available. And thank you so much for hanging out with this brief conversation here on spaciousness. I would say forgiveness, actually. Yeah, so we're not using so much coded language here. We're talking about forgiveness, reconciliation, and repair. Thank you, Ankh. Thanks for taking the time to unpack this a little bit with me.
Yeah, thank you, Nate. It's beautiful.
Hi everyone, this is Martin Stan, your producer, audio editor, and sound designer in chief for the 10,000 Heroes team. I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for listening to our show. Let me tell you a couple of things. 10,000 Heroes is brought to you by the team at Momentum Lab. Pierre does our artwork, DJ Plainview composed our theme music, and I handle all the editing, production, and sound design. And now we are closing this episode with a word from our main sponsor, who also happens to be our host, Anchor.
Hey, everybody. Thanks again for listening. If you like this episode, there's two things I want you to do. One, introduce me to the most inspiring person you know so I can have them on the show. And two, take the next step towards us hanging out in person. Maybe that's signing up for the newsletter. Maybe that's attending an upcoming in-person or virtual event. What I'm trying to do here is destroy the basic one-to-many nature of this medium, podcast, entertainment, and replace it with something that actually builds connections between people, the beloved community, getting closer together, understanding each other, one conversation at a time. So, join me. Bye!